Stories of Significance was started 11 months ago to connect people and then to inspire growth for these people from authentic stories. Authentic. This is me in the same environment with the same challenges, but in a way, I get along to do what I do and I am succeeding in my industry. So don't have excuses, but define your journey, and in the same environment you can make it, just like the speakers that we invite here have always made it and communicated to you.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? It is good to see everyone. It is a joy, honor, privilege, incredible things I can say about the opportunity to be here. Growing up here, we had a lot of stereotypes about the coast and about what is possible and what is not possible in the coast. And so you grew up knowing you're either going to be a KYM, you know, in Nairobi we say Kadayamoko, do manual jobs, and you're going to end up just wearing slippers, having a bunch of kids, doing a lot of hard work with little to show for your life. Or you're going to end up on the beach and fly somewhere with some white fella. 22 years ago, I finished high school, Baptist High School, Mombasa. I think I took my last paper at about 11 o'clock in the morning on October 25th. And when I finished, I just realized that my aspirations, my dreams, and everything I ever wanted to become, the space here was just almost impossible. So my last paper was about 11 o'clock and I took the Malindi bus at 1:30 in the afternoon and I was gone. You have to be that person that has courage to get up and go after what, you know, pokes your heart every day. So people ask me everywhere I go, this name, where is it from? A lot of people will not try even to pronounce my name, Bramuel. So where is this name from? So I'll just tell you, I was named after Bramuel Booth. He is a son of a man named William Booth. He's a British guy who founded the Salvation Army. Okay? My dad was a churchman, worked in the church with my mother. They were officers in the Salvation Army. And all of us kids were born in different parts of the country because of those travels. So I'm not the firstborn, I'm the second last in the kids. I grew up with that, thinking that my dad expects a lot out of me. And so there's always the question of, do you go after what your dad expects of you, or do you go after what you think you're supposed to be accomplishing? So when my sister was born, we need house help. I'm about 2 years old. We need a house help. My elder sister, who is in primary school, she's big, she's the one who knows people, blah, blah. She's playing out with a girl out there. And she thinks this girl is poor, she's desperate, she needs something to do, she doesn't go to school, what. You know, I'll take her home. My mom has been talking about we need help. So my sister comes home with this young girl, barely maybe a couple years older than my own sister, and says to my mom, she needs something to do. She is found to be pregnant just a few months after she starts this job. So it's time to figure out what the family is going to do with this incredible story that has just come into the family and is about to change our future for good or forever. So my mom decided to stick with her husband for a little bit, as long as he's willing to take responsibility of this pregnancy that he has caused, and he's willing to be transferred, because my mom is going to ask for a transfer. So they're transferred to someplace, Vipingo, just to this side of the coast. So my dad decides we're going to go with this young woman. Then when we get there and we settle down, then I will take her back to where she comes from. Anyway, everything there just did not work out how he was thinking. There's one thing you cannot hide, gentlemen, it's a pregnancy. It just has a way of showing up at some point. So we'll be there for a while, maybe a year or less. My dad decides, no, I need to have my kids for two reasons. One, because maybe they are my kids. I will never know what was in his heart. But I know the second reason was very important. My stepmother needs helpers to work the field and to take care of business at home. Kulima mahindi, kufanya kila kitu, fetch water and all that. So I'd stay there with my dad and my brothers and sisters for a while. About 84, my brother who was disabled, he dies while I'm sharing a floor with him, sleeping with him on the floor. He dies. And he used to gnash his teeth every morning, so that way I would know he's hungry. So I don't go to school. My job is to take care of my disabled brother. And as you listen to my story, just look out for three things. Listen to God, listen to relationships, and listen to courage. Okay? Listen to God, listen to relationships, listen to courage. So, relationship here is my grandfather in that particular situation. And he's able to step in and bring reason in this whole situation. He's the one who says we cannot bury Leonard without his mother here. He's the one who sends out my sister to go get my mother in Mariakani to come for the burial of her son. So the next thing that follows is what? I don't have much to do because now Leonard is dead. So 85, 7 years old, I live with a father who doesn't care whether I'm supposed to go to school. All my peers, they've already been to nursery school for the last 2 or 3 years. Me, I've just been home taking care of my brother and doing nothing. I don't speak a word of English. I don't know A, E, I, O, U. I don't know A, B, C, D, nothing. One of my friends, a young man that I used to play with, he's in primary school. He's just joining primary school, class 1. So he says to me, next week, I'm going to class 1. I finished nursery school. And so I said, I think I'm going to come with you. His name was Raymond. I said, I'm going to come with you. He says, has your father signed you up to join school? I said, no, but if I wait forever, he will never do it. So 1985, January 7th, it was a Tuesday. I got up, I wore my church clothes and walked over to school, looking for that one guy, relationships, Raymond. I said, where are you going to stand? It's assembly time. Where are you going to stand? He showed me where he's standing. I stood right behind him. Now remember, I'm not a registered student in this school, but this was the days of Nyayo and free milk and free books. So there's a way you can just maneuver your way. I have no school uniform. So I stick in the line, and then when the assembly is finished, I understood nothing in the assembly because they're speaking English. So when the assembly is finished, everybody's running off to their class. I have no idea where to run, but I'm watching this guy where he's going to go. It's where I'm going because I know he's going to class 1. My father has no clue where I am. Just before I step into the class where my friend is joining, I remembered if I go in here, they're going to ask me my names. What's our family name? So I ran off to my brother who's in class 4, Moses. I said, what are you called in class? He said, Moses Mutua. I said, great. I'm going to go say Bramuel Musya. It's my father's surname. So I go back to class 1, join in, sit down with my friend, no desks, no nothing. We're just sitting on the floor. Remember those days. And then the teacher comes in, and all these kids have been to nursery school, so they understand some of the things that she's talking about. So she starts to call out the register. And I thought, I need to target this teacher because she can help me to catch up with these guys to understand what they know that I don't know. So she's calling out, and everybody is saying present. Sometimes I hear absent. And I have no idea what that means. But I know every one of those words is followed after someone's name. So I listen. She finishes. We got about 45 kids in that class. She finishes, I don't wait for later. I'm going to build this relationship right now before she continues teaching. So as soon as she finished the register, she closes the book. She's going to go to the blackboard and start writing. I said, no. I walk over to her. I said, Mwalimu, mimi sikusikia jina yangu. She said, who are you? I said, Bramuel Musya. She sits down, she writes my name. That's how I became a student of that school. Courage and a relationship that I saw. So as soon as the class is finished, I follow her. I say, those guys, they understood what you are saying. I didn't understand. So she becomes my friend. and she begins to tutor me on the side. I'm class 1. I will go to school for the next 1 year without my father even knowing that I go to school. My father found out that I used to go to school on 3rd term of class 1. How he found out is I came to tell him and show him my report card. And I'd reached position 6 out of 40 kids. So I was doing pretty well. And I continued to try and show him the importance of what I'm doing in school. And one day he just broke my spirit. I was in class 4 and I became number 2. I was like, wow, I'm getting close to that first position. So I came home excited to show my dad the report card. And then I said, look, I became number 2. And what he said, umejaribu. And then he gave me back my report card. Broke my spirit. Another dysfunction. But I said, that's never gonna fail me. I'll never show him my report card again, but I will work hard to make sure that the report card I get is pleasing to me, because I don't have to do it for him. So my sister finished primary school. They tried to marry her off. My brother finished primary school, and so she ran off, went back to my mother. And we had gone to court, and the court had ruled in favor of us staying with my dad until we were 18. So I'm just 11 or 10, and I'm seeing these guys not being taken to high school. So I'm telling myself, that's my fate too. I'm not gonna make it to high school because my dad doesn't want to pay school fees for high school. So my brother, my sister, they all waited to finish primary school. Either they are repeated back to class 7, all these games, so that they're not being sent to high school. Until finally they realized, no, this is not working, they ran off. And but I had been determined from the time I was in class 4 that I would work my way towards getting out of that village. You've got to study your environment and say, is this it? Is this it? If my story was to be concluded today, would I be happy with this conclusion? And I look at my brother. He's been through class 8. He's finished. He's been put back to class 7 again. So he's wasted 2 years. Now he's been put second time to class 7. He's just going to grow old in primary school. So I said, you need to leave. He said, I can't leave. I'm older. You're younger. I should stay here and watch out for you. I said, don't watch out for me. You leave. He said, I don't have money to go. I went back to my savings, emptied it all. I gave him my 30 shillings. He's gone. I remind him until today that with interest, he owes me 3 million shillings. In those days, when you're a kid, you don't have to pay bus fare if you're traveling with an adult. If you're traveling alone, you're going to pay. So the first thing I did is I looked for a mama who was traveling without a child. And I just watched where she sat. And then I got in the bus, I went straight to where she was, and I sat on the armrest next to her as if I was her child. That's how I got away without paying bus fare. There is always a way. All right? I just whispered to her, I said, Mami, niko na wewe. Relationship. When I went to school, I began to realize something. There was missionaries who are teachers in that school, Mzungus. And okay, I love the Lord and I enjoy talking Bible with them. But I also realized that if you go to a Baptist church in those days, you actually got a very significant discount on your school fees. So I quickly went to a Baptist church down in Kisauni somewhere and got myself baptized and got myself the discounts for school. So the night we're about to do our final exam, our final paper, my brother and all the friends, they were out at Tembo Disco celebrating that we're finishing high school. And I had never slept that night. I was cracking my head where I'm going to raise 400 shillings to get out of this town, because I can't wait to leave. You've got to be in a rush to accomplish the things you're supposed to accomplish. When Jesus was here, he knew he only had a short time. 33 years is a short time to accomplish what he accomplished. So there's no time to waste. Of course, have fun, be playful, be a joyful person, but you've got to be a person on a mission. So I did a little research and realized, you know, there's a place called South Sudan that has a civil war. So the operations for the United Nations is at the Kenyan side on the border of Kenya and South Sudan. It's a place called Lokichogio. So in Lokichogio, it's a big United Nations operation. It was called OLS, Operation Lifeline Sudan. What it was about 79 or 80 or so different international NGOs and UN agencies coming together to form one united consortium to operate under the UN ground rules to serve South Sudan during the civil war. And so there's a big operation, and there's opportunities for you to be a storekeeper, to be a logistician, to be an air operations officer, to do all that. So I decided I'm not going to sit here in my uncle's house and then finally find myself homeless in Nairobi. So what should I do? I'm going to go to Lokichogyo. And there, I'm going to try and figure out if I can get a job in the UN. Okay, imagine this young kid, about 19 years old, has never been to university, has a dream to go work for the UN. So how is that going to happen? I get in the bus, Eldoret Express. I go to Kitale, I get in Matatu, I go to Kakuma, I get to Lodwar, I get in Matatu, I go to Kakuma, I get in Matatu, I go to Lokichogyo. When I get there, I go straight to this UN camp that I used to hear about. I look at it from the outside. I can't come in, I don't have a badge, I don't have nothing. I look at it and I tell myself, I'm going to build relationships here, and whether I have a college degree or not, I'm going to have me a job here. But how long this will take, I don't know, but I'm determined to do that. So I go back to the village. I find this Somali old man. There was Somali people and Turkana people living in Lokichogyo, in little manyatas, you know those Turkana houses. I tell one of them, I said, I'd like to come stay with you. He says, who are you? I explain myself. Well, of course, let me stay with him in his little manyatas. So I throw my bag in and I start living this village life again in Lokichogyo, in the middle of nowhere. And I smile at people, I greet people at the gate, and I say, do you have any work that you would like help? You don't have to pay me. I just need to come and help. And people would always invite me. And so within the first 2-3 weeks, I already got myself a badge, not only to wait at the gate, but to enter inside the camp. So I'm able to come in the camp. And so I'm building all these friendships, and people are beginning to know me, and everybody, the Sudanese used to call me the boy, because they can't say my name. It's hard, they chop their teeth. and so they call me the boy. The Kenyans, they just call me Brams. So, and so there I am. It took me about 6 months. Built a lot of relationships there. It's an amazing time. Never traded for anything else in my life. It was an amazing, incredible time. So the day came, I've been here 6 months, and Howard says, do a CV. So I'm doing my first CV. This will be my first and last CV. I've never done a CV since that time. So I did one CV, and I print 6 copies of it, and I send it to 6 organizations. I'm gonna wind up now. So I send it to 6 organizations in the UN. I chose about 6. I said, I'd like now to get a contract and be employed here in the system. Funny thing was, in about 24 hours, all those 6 companies had offered me a contract. They now want to hire me. So I'm 90, and I'm trying to decide which one to work for. Will I choose the one that's offering a lot of money? Will I choose the one that I have friendships? Will I choose the one that looks like it can help me to grow as a person? What am I going to do? There's no way to call my mother. One of them, I went for the interview. They offered me the job. Then about 45 minutes later, they called me. They said, you're very gifted, you can accomplish, but you're too young, so we're going to hire someone a bit older to be your supervisor. I said, you want to use me? I quit after 45 minutes of working for them. Okay, so that was a Belgian organization. The next one that I went for, I did an interview, I passed. They said, I'm very qualified, I have the experience, I have the knowledge of the system. But then when I started working, I worked for about half an hour, and they said, I think you have to go to Nairobi to take a second interview. I quit. So that I was able to eliminate that one. The next one I went and worked for, I don't know what they said, but it was something to do with I couldn't live in the UN camp because I was an African. I quit. So they're gonna give me a job. They think I can deliver, but my standards and conditions of living will be reduced just because I'm an African. I said, no way. You don't put me second. You have to justify why. And your reasons for putting me second right now are not acceptable to me. So, I quit that one. So finally, I went and worked for Medea. So I worked for them from June 23rd to June 30th. I've only worked for 7 days. And I got my first salary within 7 days. Oh, little kid, 19 years old. growing up in Bombolulu in a single room, never seen more than 1,000 shillings, which I can call mine. I get my salary. I don't even own a bank account. I get this envelope. It's got about 75,000 shillings. My goodness, I'm gonna die with this money. This is gonna kill me. Then they said, you need a driver's license. So they add another 20,000. They said, you need to use that to get a driver's license. It costs 4,000 shillings that unique in Mombasa to get a driver's license. They give me 20. So, I have 95,000. They said, well, when you get home, you need a car because you'll be on holiday. It's your R&R, you need your retreat. So we're going to give you another 30,000 shillings. So you take that with you for your car during the holidays. And they're pumping money to me. Finally, I show up at my mother's house without a bank account, and I've got envelopes all over my pockets. I've got about 180,000 shillings. I put it on a table. I said, Mother, this mama is crying. She doesn't know what to do. So I'm going crazy. I will keep going to town to buy her a telly. I come back, I check what else has my mother never owned. I go to town, I go bring it. I'm just going crazy. I remember taking my brother Moses, this guy that owes me 33 million. He's jobless. He's jobless at the time. So I take him to Norman Eno down here. I shop for this guy worth 15,000 shillings. Then he says, "Me, are you a thief?" I'm not a thief. I work. I've just worked for 7 days. I've just been paid. But all this to say that in all those experiences, it was nothing but God, relationships, and